Hello everybody, welcome to this recap video. So this is going to follow my progress on a weekly basis of my trading in the Forex market. So you'll be able to see when, where I place these trades so you can give a better idea of how I approach the market and what I look for to reach my goals of profit and, well, loss as well. Okay, so this has been a really tricky 2 weeks. As you may have seen in the Forex market, a lot of pairs are moving in strange ways, a lot of trends that most people don't really realize why the trends are going in this direction, especially when the news numbers are not making sense with the trends. And if you look at gold, gold has been in a crazy adventure, going down, dropping almost 1,000 pips 2 weeks ago to now where it's being stuck in a tight range and doesn't really know where to go from this point. So a lot of odd things have been taking place over the last 2 weeks, and it's because the news numbers, or just the standard released scheduled news numbers, have been very off on a lot of different currencies, including the Canadian dollar and also the US dollar as well. And so this is causing a lot of insecurity in the market and making it difficult for, well, a lot of traders to profit. And so I can say that I'm very happy to report that I've been able to come out with profit over the last 2.5 months now, almost 3 months, on this trading account. And I think it's time that I show you guys the progress that I'm making and the trades that I'm doing so you can get a better idea of how I approach the market, so maybe you can emulate it as well. All right, so let's get into this, but first I should let you know that trading is risky, and most traders end up losing money. So it's important that whatever software you're using, whether it's the software that I'm using, that you should use a demo account and profit for at least 3 to 6 months before approaching the market with live money. So before I get into the recap for this week, I wanted to talk about the 3 algorithms that are running on complete autopilot on my tracked account here at Oanda. So we had a loss this week. So we're looking at a 3.61% loss. We did take a hit of 6.64% overall. I was able to recover some of that near the end of this week, but the algorithm had a struggle. The market went against it, and it had a loss. Losses are part of trading. They happen, and it was the time for the redemption algorithm to take a hit. And it's just unfortunate. We're in an extreme, strange market right now, and so the algorithm was not able to recover the loss and had to cut its loss and move on to finding better opportunities. So we're going to move on and take this account over with the Comeback Kid Manager EA. This is going to be a combination of auto trading and manual trading. So this will be a hybrid combination for this account moving forward, and I'll be able to show this account in the recap as well. So let's talk a little bit more about the stats here on my FX book before we really get into the charts. So we're looking at 11.91% profit with just 6.21% drawdown. I actually hit that maximum drawdown early this week, where before this week I was actually at 2.5%. And so I'll talk about why this took place and how it happened. All right, so we're looking at a really smooth equity curve and almost 12% profit overall. So this week again, 1.2%, and this month so far, 2.87%. So my profit target is 3 to upwards of 5% every single month, and so I'm doing pretty well on that so far. In June I did 3.9%, and July 4.6%, and then so far 2.87%. So I'm looking like I'm meeting my goals pretty well. I'm not forcing any trades. I'm just basically taking what the market gives me, and on a really good track record so far. So the maximum risk I'm looking to take on this account is 15%. So if my equity hits a maximum of 15% drawdown, I will close out all of my trades for realized loss. It's going to be unfortunate, but it will take me anywhere from 3 to 4 months to recover that loss, which is perfectly fine in my standards. And so, if I have that loss takes place, I will continue to do these recaps in the attempt at recovering that loss if it does take place. So the first trade that I want to talk about was my position on gold this week. This position forced my account into just over 6% drawdown, and it's been my highest drawdown trade since I started this account about 3 months ago. So before this week, I was at 2.5% drawdown, which was pretty insane, and I did exceed that a little bit further this week, but it still had a lot of room when my maximum drawdown of 15% is considered. All right, so the piece of software that I'm actually using to manage my positions and to trade the market is the Comeback Kid Manager EA. You can actually check this out on my website if it's something that you're interested in using. It's able to auto-trade the market, but it's also able to manage your positions. So say, for example, you enter a trade into the market and you want to go to sleep at night, or you want to leave your desk. It's able to manage your position and enter more trades at support and resistance levels, or at, using the ATR and multiple order trading, and even capable of using martingale if you want as well, to exit your trade as a profitable one. So this is something that I wanted to build for my trading, and I think that it gives the trader an edge in the market, and that's something that we all need. All right, so let's get into the gold trade. So the position was taken initially by the algorithm, so right in here. And so you're probably wondering, like, why was the position taken there right when the market or gold continued to go up at that point? So I'm going to load up all of my indicators on chart by clicking the little buttons here. You can kind of see what's taking place. So we have two trend indicators that are pulling from the daily and the weekly time frames to give me an idea of where price has been heading over the last few weeks. And then I also have an oscillator down here that's filtering out positions. So my entry positions are based on, or a lot of them are based on, the support resistance from the pivots indicator, which is right here. We have 3 lines that are showing us support levels, and we have 3 lines showing us resistance levels for each new day. All right, and the arrows are showing me candlestick patterns. So this is a candlestick pattern on the downside. This is one on the upside. Down, down, down. And this definitely helps guide me with the Comeback Kid Manager EA in taking the best positions possible. All right, so the gold trade was taken right in on this candle. So I'm going to take off the candlestick Kalman indicator just so we can actually see the formations better. And you can see that we had this entry right here. So this was an entry candle on the M30. We're actually displaying on the 1 hour right now, so I'm going to turn that time frame down. There we go. So you can see the entry after the candlestick pattern took place, and we entered into the market on a short position expecting the market to go down. It didn't take place. It went up, and it continued to ride up and blew right past all of our resistance levels, 1, 2, and 3. And that was for the day. So it blew all past that, and then it came back a little bit the next day. So I re-entered into the market at the resistance level 3, and and entered again right at this point. Probably wondering, like, well, this position doesn't really make sense. I actually turned it to the 1 hour to see what was happening on the 1 hour chart. Found out that there was a nice rejection candle at this point. And so I entered a little bit later on my position right here, and it did fall. So right when price got here, right when price moved to this point, I was 0.01% profit away from my profit target at that point, and I missed it. I didn't close out the trade because it closes out its trade automatically when 0.1% target is met, and I was off by 0.01%. So it's really unfortunate that I barely missed my target right there. It would have kept my account at a maximum of 2.5% drawdown overall. But because I missed my target, it bounced way back up, and then I had to find better places in the market to re-enter positions. So this one was based on the auto trade of the Comeback Manager EA. So it's looking at price getting close to the next resistance level up here. So that was a position taken by the auto trade. And then the next position I took on my own. So this was me intervening by clicking the buttons up here at the top with the Comeback Kid Manager EA. And I entered a 4th position. So I had 1, 2, 3, oh, it's a 5th position right here. And thinking that this was a pretty good spot. We had a reversal candle right at the resistance point. And the market did fall a little bit. And we even got another reversal candle at this point. It just it didn't happen. It shot back up the next day. And then we hit another resistance point the following day. And this is when things got pretty interesting. And I saw that this kept trickling up, and I missed my target on the 16th, unfortunately, and kept moving upwards. And so the more it kept moving upwards, the more I kept looking for opportunities for a pullback to happen, because the market moves like like a rubber band. And when you stretch it, it will come back. It won't come back all the way to that distance that you stretched it, but it will come back a good amount. And that's what I'm looking for within the market. It doesn't matter if it's Forex pairs or a different asset. So we have a stretch of the market here. We have the pullback. We have the stretch, the pullback. And these are the kind of places that I'm targeting if the trend happens to go against me. So this is more of a counter trend type of movement. It's still in the downtrend on the daily and the weekly time frame, but we're pushing up against that, and we're getting really close to changing the trend. So we're in this kind of limbo stage at this point. And so that's why I was looking for these areas of pullback to hit my target. So I was able to find more places at this resistance point. The algorithm entered a position on its own at this level, resistance level 1, which was around the 1790 point on gold. And then I entered again a couple times here for the pullback that happened on the 17th. And this was a good rejection candle right at the resistance point, got the pullback, target was met right here. All trades closed out for realized profit overall. So I came out with a little bit over 0.1% there. I think it was around 0.3% profit on that entire basket of trades. So the next trades that I went in on during this consolidation period after the big push, there was a lot of up and down and a bit of ranging that was taking place. So we're doing this, for pretty much the rest of the week on gold. And it was difficult for people, I guess traders didn't really know where they wanted to take gold. There was a lot of mixed news regarding the USD this week, and gold just didn't react to it. So I took a couple of extra positions, and the one that I looked at for a trade was a short sell position right here, and this was taken manually with the button. So I pushed the button up here, closed down here, got a good amount of profit on that one. It was about 0.3%. Then I went on the opposite side, seeing that there was some ranging happening. There was a obvious support level here, so I entered again. And this was a long position, closed out for about 0.1% profit. Entered another position after this candle formation pattern here, and was able to come out with some profit on that. And in a few more positions on the buy side, that closed out for another profit. So I was able to come out with quite a bit of profit on my gold positions this week, even considering the huge run up that I got stuck in, and then the ranging that happened after, which I was able to get some good profit on that. So a couple of other positions that I took, as I do take a lot of trades, or quite a few trades every single week. I don't force my positions. I actually just look for trades with the trend or good counter trade opportunities as well. So this one was a bit tricky. So let's load these indicators on chart to show you what we're looking at. All right, so this was a fairly intense trade setup here and basket of trades on the US dollar Japanese yen. So you can see here that we were in an uptrend, and it was right in here that I expected the trend to continue up. There's a bit of consolidation after we fell back down, and then it fell even further than that, and it took a nosedive. And you can see all my positions. All these blue lines right in here are buy trades or long positions, and this is where there was a moment that we had a good chance for this to pop back up, and it didn't happen. We had two entries here, and price really just fell like a ton of bricks at that point. So when the trend changed, I was starting to look for, I knew that the trend was changing and that this was going to be probably a pretty big nosedive. And so I was looking, the algorithm was managing the position when I was sleeping at night or not at my desk, and it was looking for other trade opportunities. So the algorithm entered here, and these were auto trades. So those were both auto trade positions. And these up here were also auto trade positions. And then this was an auto trade, and also auto trade. So this entire basket of trades was managed by the algorithm. And you can see that, yeah, it was a deeper basket, but still it was less than 6% drawdown. I think that the maximum drawdown that I had on this basket of trades was around 2%. And then at the bottom position, which was great, the algorithm found the very bottom of this entire channel before we had some nice news that was in our favor, and we closed out for a profit on the US dollar Japanese yen. Okay, so I'm going to just talk about a few more of my most substantial trades for the week. Otherwise, this would be a forever long video. But I have this here. This was a trade that was taken on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. Now, this is something that I wanted to talk to you guys about because this kind of movement on this pair is super unusual. When we have a move from 126, around 126, all the way up to the maximum, which is about 350 pips with no pullback. So typically with the market, how the market works is, like I was mentioning before, is you have this rubber band movement. It stretches, it comes back a little bit, stretches again, comes back, stretches again, like this. And in this case, we didn't have that in this entire move. It was just basically straight up. And so when I see this taking place, I'm looking for counter trade opportunities for that pullback in there to take place. So that area. And so I entered into the market here and also earlier in the week right here and was able to find that pullback within the big, huge move up. So this was a larger move than just 350 pips from that point. We're talking about from the very bottom, 450 pips on the US dollar CAD this week. So the only pullback that we really had was in this area, and then it shot back up, and then we had that pullback again, and was able to catch that move. So this was pretty interesting because this was something that was tricky to spot because of how aggressive the movement on the US dollar the US dollar Canadian dollar was. So I want to show you guys the news this week, which was pretty interesting because I've seen a lot of traders talking about the numbers with the US dollar. So on Tuesday, earlier this week, so this was on the 17th, the core retail sales on the US dollar were really negative. They were really negative, yet the US dollar continued to gain. So that was on the 17th. I was right in this area where we picked up, and it just launched right after that. We had some FOMC news that came out that really pushed it even further, but that those negative numbers, basically the banks and institutions ignored it and popped the price, the US dollar, or pumped the US dollar up. And in turn, that was what caused the pullback to happen on gold right here, causing me to get out of my trade. And I was anticipating this movement happening, this pullback happening, whether the numbers were positive or negative with the news numbers on the US dollar on the 17th of this month. So again, trading can be tricky. We never know what the big money is going to do, but we can kind of suspect based on how price is moving. If price is moving in a big way, relentlessly in one direction, a lot of times it doesn't matter if the news is positive or negative, that pullback is going to happen within that move, just because it's well overextended, and the banks and institutions can get in at better prices before these news numbers and then just throw everybody off and just take billions of dollars from retail traders and pretty much everybody else. And this is, some people might agree with my perspective on this, but this is how I view things, and this is how I approach the market, and it's one reason why I've been successful in my trading over the last 2 years. Okay, so let's go back to the US dollar CAD and talk about what took place today. So we had that huge run-up, and my first entry was right here looking for a pullback at the third resistance level up here, and it just ignored it and kept going up. So I entered again manually with the buttons over here, a sell trade after an inside candle setup. That was rejected and continued up. And then the algorithm entered three more trades while I was sleeping at night. All right, so the algorithm was able to take over the position, enter some pretty good trades, and it was starting to slow at this point. The price was starting to just get a little bit pushing up slower, and it was starting to peter out, and we were just about to get into the U.S. session. So the U.S. session was just about to take place, and that's when this just all of a sudden tanked. So we had some CAD numbers that came out, and they were fairly positive. It wasn't amazing news for the CAD, but it was enough to really push my trades into a profitable direction. So 4.7%, so just above the expectations, and it was a pretty slow grind on this coming back down. So right at that point, right before the news came out, this is where we were. Price was right around here, and it started falling and eventually did give in, and that pullback happened, and I was able to get out of the trade in a positive way. So I held my trades through the news on purpose, knowing that the chances of a pullback happening no matter what was very high because of how overextended this was with no pullback in between. Remember that movement that I made for you before, looking for those pullbacks? This was just straight up. And so that's when I'm looking for potential reversal trades in this market. All right, so guys, that's pretty much it for my trade recap for this week. I hope that you guys learned something from how I approach the market, as I think it's a fairly reasonable approach, and one reason why I use my Comeback Kid Manager EA is to enter multiple trades into the markets, because we need more chances to be wrong. Our first trade, we can't put everything on one trade, even if it's 1% risk or 3% risk like people like to do, because the Forex market is so unpredictable that we need more chances to be wrong so we can fix or make our trades better and profitable or even break even. All right, so that's it for this week. I'll catch you guys in the next recap. Thanks for watching.